Your money, your stories, your freedom. The Peter Schiff Show.
Hour 2 of the Peter Schiff Show is underway. Just between the breaks, I'm watching Chuck Schumer questioning Ben Bernanke on the sequester. He is trying to elicit a response from the Fed chairman as to what the dangers face the U.S. economy should the dreaded sequester actually be allowed to come into effect. Remember now, these draconian cuts, otherwise known as minuscule, insignificant, and make-believe cuts, are scheduled to kick in March 1st, which will bring us to...
Countdown to the apocalypse.
Watch out! Like the asteroid headed to Earth, they're coming. $86 billion in automatic budget cuts.
Hundreds of thousands of Americans will lose access to flu vaccinations and cancer screening.
Everything from education to national parks to Meals on Wheels.
T-minus 3 days.
We're roughly 100 hours away from automatic spending cuts taking effect that will sideline more than 1 million federal workers and curtail a lot of government services we all depend on.
The White House is picking up the pace of its PR offensive. They are rolling out reports for each of the country's states and how they will be affected by these automatic budget cuts. In California, 9,600 low-income students could lose their college financial aid. In Florida, nearly $4 million could be slashed to provide meals for needy seniors. And in Texas, nearly 10,000 fewer children will receive vaccines for diseases like whooping cough and the flu.
Also, I don't know if you saw, there was a press conference yesterday with Janet Napolitano. Now, I mean, talking about bringing out the big guns, now this is an issue of national security. There could be another terrorist attack if we allow the sequester. I mean, I guess the terrorists are sitting there thinking, we got them now. You know, they've been patiently waiting all these years for the sequester. And now that we're going to drop our guard, we're not going to have the money to defend our country. Now it's open season. Get ready for more terrorist attacks because the government will lack the resources to thwart their actions. To have a listen, this is the press conference that took place yesterday. Cut number 9.
Put simply, the automatic budget reduction mandated by sequestration would be disruptive and destructive to our nation's security and economy. It would negatively affect the mission readiness and capabilities of the men and women on our front lines. It would undermine the significant progress we've made over the past 10 years to build the nation's preparedness and resiliency. Perhaps most critically, it would have serious consequences to the flow of trade and travel at our nation's ports of entry.
Oh, my God, that's pretty scary stuff. I mean, it's going to undermine everything we've done over the past 10 years since September 11th. All of that's going to be undone by the sequester. It's going to be disruptive to our security and our economy. Oh, my God. And, you know, one of the somebody asked her point blank if, you know, this was going to make us more vulnerable to a terrorist attack. I mean, do we really have to worry now? Do Americans have to worry next weekend that we might be attacked? And, you know, listen to what she says. I mean, she doesn't try to reassure everybody. Oh, don't worry, we got it covered. You know, she doesn't want to say she doesn't want to tell the terrorists or the would-be terrorists, hey, don't even think of trying anything. You know, this sequester is no big deal. I mean, we're ready. It's not going to impact us. We have no. She's basically telling the terrorists, here's your window of opportunity. We're completely vulnerable. Here, cut number 10.
Look, I don't think we can maintain the same level of security at all places around the country with sequester as without sequester. We're going to do and are doing everything we can within the limits sequester gives us. But as I was mentioning earlier, if you have 5,000 fewer Border Patrol hours or agents, you have 5,000 fewer Border Patrol agents. That has a real impact.
Yeah, why don't we actually put up a blueprint or a plan to show exactly where those agents are going to be pulled? Why don't we make it easier for the terrorists to hit us when we're weak? Because then that would really help. That we could really use that, right, to politics to show you. See, look, we can't cut anything because if we cut any spending whatsoever, then it's going to be a terrorist attack. And here's the funniest part about everything she says is then she comes back and says, "Look, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I mean, who is she fooling?" That's exactly what she's trying to do. She was sent up there to scare the bejesus out of people. So there's some pressure put on Congress to avoid these sequester cuts. Here, cut number 11.
Yeah, I'm not here to scare people. I'm here to inform and also to let people begin to plan, because they're going to see these impacts in their daily lives, and they're going to have to adjust and make their arrangements accordingly. And it won't be like a shutdown where it's like turning off the light switch. But all I can say for folks is these are the effects that will accrue. Please don't yell at the customs officer or the TSO officer because the lines are long. The lines over the next few weeks are going to start to lengthen in some dramatic ways in parts of the country.
Yeah, so don't blame the government for their own incompetence because they can't figure out how to cope with these sequester cuts. By the way, her budget, Napolitano's budget, is higher in 2013 than it was in 2012, even with the sequester. So it doesn't even make any sense. In fact, if you look at the TSA and in what we're spending, or the Department of Transportation, we're spending a lot more than we were in 2008, despite the fact that there are a lot fewer planes flying. Not as many Americans are taking trips because they're broke. They're unemployed. They can't afford to fly. Airlines are cutting back. They're consolidating. They've gone through bankruptcies. So if we have fewer flights, why do we need to spend more money on the air traffic or all? I mean, you'd think the government would be able to cut back, considering Americans are cutting back on their flying. You figure we could spend less money, but no, we always have to spend more and more money. And if we don't spend more, then the whole thing is going to implode.